Isaiah Pacheco, I mean this with love. I think he needs to see a specialist. I'm really worried about his anger problems. I have not seen a running back run as angry and pissed off and aggressively as he does in a while. And it's to the point where I feel like there's a deeper root to this. Because you gotta have a certain level of hatred within you to run the way that man runs. Alrighty, welcome everybody back to another video here on the channel. If you don't know who I am by now, my name is David. I also go by Miller Football, and I'm currently doing a series here on this channel where I am going through all 32 NFL teams, breaking them down in depth leading up to the 2023 NFL season, which starts tomorrow when you're watching this, which is really scary because I'm not done yet. I still have videos to record and edit and upload. They'll all be up by the Sunday that the season kicks off. This Thursday night game is just screwing up all my plans. But we are going to be talking about one of the teams that is playing in this Thursday night game, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you're familiar with me or my content or my podcast or any of the other team previews I've done, you'll probably notice the man sitting next to me is not a Chiefs fan. Obviously, that is the TheGeekSlays, who, by the way, while we're recording this, is currently live doing a subathon, has been live for multiple days, which is insane. I genuinely don't know how a single human being can manage to do that, but props to Geek, because that's what he does for a living. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the Chiefs, and before we get into that, Geek, how are you doing today with everything going on?
Dude. I have been tired. Dude, yesterday I just was exhausted. It did not get better. I do better every minute that I don't have to eat another insanely spicy wing, though. That's all fair. I know. That bomb wing, that was bad, dude.
You've been sleeping, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I just want to make sure.
When you stream for like 16 hours at a time and then you take a 5 or 6 hour break to sleep, it doesn't really.
No, I get you. I get you.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But speaking of not quite getting what you want, the Kansas City Chiefs are obviously in a very tough position at the moment because arguably the second or third best player on their team, Chris Jones, is holding out. He wants to get paid. Him and the Chiefs are far apart on a deal to the point where he is not going to be playing in at least the first couple games for the Chiefs. So just kind of as a whole, Geek, what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
I think, honestly, it might be better for the Chiefs if he actually does hold out till week 8.
Why is that?
Because they're going to be fine for 8 weeks.
You think?
Keeping him healthier for the... Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they won't be as good against the run, but I don't know
or the pass.
Matters.
He's the best pass rusher on their team.
Or decent pass rush, not pass rusher.
I was going to say
pass rush. And Spags can draw something up. They would be fine. And plus, the defense always sucks for the first 5 weeks anyways. It's the worst in the league for the first 5 weeks. So if it's the worst in the league for the first 8, that's only an extra 3 games, and they still end up 6-2 somehow every time. So I don't know if it really matters. And in this world, that just means Chris Jones is healthy for the playoff run, which is probably scarier for everybody else. So I kind of wonder if this is just the Chiefs saying, we're just not going to pay you till week 8. It's cool. And he goes, all
right. Okay. First of all, yeah. I don't know if that's a smart team building strategy. Just to be like, hey, we're going to pay you, but we want you to sit out the first half of the year when you are the centerpiece in kind of the entirety of our defense. Yeah. That's a decision.
That is.
That is a decision.
That's what the Chiefs are known for, though, are decisions.
Not of that magnitude. I don't know about of that magnitude, though. Like, yeah, they make questionable draft picks and free agent moves and whatnot, but telling, like I said, the second or third best player on your team, arguably the best interior defensive lineman in football, hey, don't play half the year, then we'll pay you. Like,
see, I don't know. So I'm not saying it's smart. I'm just saying it's possible. I don't know. Dude, I don't know. There seems to be this thing of people not wanting to play constantly. Nobody wants the 17-game season. Give him a break. He'll show up later. If he was serious about holding out, why wouldn't he just hold out? Why does he want to come back in week 8 and make a playoff push? Because if you're the Chiefs, you just don't pay it and let him come back and play in week 8.
I don't know. Maybe the whole week 8 thing is so he has more on his repertoire and like his resume. That's the word I'm looking for. More on his resume for when he hits the open market, if he's anticipating that. Because like obviously Chris Jones is Chris Jones. He doesn't have anything to prove. But if you sit out a whole year, we've seen the effect that has on players.
Yeah, but okay. So my bigger thought with that, he's not gonna get to hit the open market. He'll just get franchise tagged. He doesn't get to leave unless the Chiefs want him to.
Fair. But I mean, maybe he's thinking there's a chance he can get out of it or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Like
the whole situation's weird to me.
I'll put it this way. I don't think any player's playing anticipating that they're going to get franchise tagged or banking on that they're going to get franchise tagged, especially not a player of that level.
I think when you're a player of that level, you kind of know you're going to get franchise tagged.
Well, I mean, let me put it this way. You're not trying to settle for the franchise tag. True. Is a better way to put it.
But if you already know you're going to get franchise tagged, I don't know. Like, it's not a settling matter. It's just more of a, this is what is going to happen.
No, maybe.
I don't see a world where it wouldn't.
I don't know. It's a weird situation.
I don't like it. I don't know. He'll play eventually. That's what I know.
Yeah. I will say, though, I'm a lot less optimistic with their defense than you are if Chris Jones isn't there. Obviously, you mentioned Spags being someone that, can dial up blitzes and likes to get aggressive and likes to get, freaky with it, so to speak. But last year, he didn't. Like, his blitz rates were way lower than I would have expected. And I think a big part of that was Kansas City's young secondary, obviously. So maybe I'm reading a little bit too much between the lines there and I'm overreacting to it a little bit. Because the way his defenses work is he tries to get home with 4 or 5 and then gets weird in the back end. Like he'll do a lot of the Cooper Kupp bringing up the fire zone blitzes and whatnot. He likes to do a lot of that. He likes to send corners at the quarterback. And maybe because all of his guys were young last year, he didn't think they could do that. So he kind of simplified things. But I don't know. Either way, losing your best player on either side of the ball is worrisome. It's not like. Plus, with the rest of their pass rush, like what are we're looking at?
Karlaftis.
Well, I know Karlaftis. I'm trying to think the interior because I can't remember who they have left. Tershawn Wharton
and Derek Nottie.
Is Derek Nottie an interior pass rusher for them? Okay. Because he's a tweener.
4-3. So
yeah. Right, but
for them he's interior.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's a tweener. He can play 4-3 end or like 3 tech. Is my point. I figured they had him lined up at end because they lost Frank Clark. But I guess with Chris Jones being gone,
anudike-uzomah.
Okay, yeah. I guess with Chris Jones being gone, you got to flex somebody inside to play 3 tech, so that makes sense. But yeah, the point is like their pass rush might be okay, but they'll lose games without Chris Jones. Not having Chris Jones is going to cost them a couple games.
It could absolutely. ESPN's depth chart for them is very odd.
Why is that?
They have Jack Cochran starting over Nick Bolton.
Is Nick Bolton hurt?
No.
Huh?
Should have been Super Bowl MVP is not a starter now, apparently.
I don't buy that.
No, I don't either. L'Jarius Sneed is also listed as corner 3 behind Jalen Watson and Trent McDuffie.
Does he have like a little injury tag next to him?
He's questionable. But
that's why then.
Change the depth chart.
No, ESPN, whenever anybody's questionable, they get moved down. It's weird.
Oh, I didn't know.
If they have any sort of red mark next to their name, they're going to get moved down in ESPN's depth chart. I don't know why they do that either. It's really weird. But that's just how they do it. Unless it's like, I'll put it this way, unless they're confirmed to be playing through an injury,
gotcha.
They're going to have that little mark there. But either way, overarching point here.
Yeah.
Chris Jones being gone, bad, even if not end of the world bad. But another situation that happened with the Chiefs this offseason, and one that I think is really funny to look at in hindsight, is the whole Orlando Brown Jr. ordeal. Because you look at it where Orlando Brown Jr., obviously the big fuss was he wanted to play left tackle. The Chiefs didn't want to pay him as a left tackle. They wanted him to play right tackle, right? So they go into free agency. They sign a right tackle to play left tackle. Halfway through the offseason, they're like, nope, never mind. He's going to play right tackle. We're going to bring in Donovan Smith to play left tackle. And Donovan Smith sucks. No secret there. He is very bad at playing left tackle.
So I think they're just gonna spend the first like 8 months of the year, or 8 weeks of the year, maybe a little longer, developing Wanya Morris to take over that job before it matters. That's how
I forgot. Oklahoma fan. He's got to bring the Wanya Morris narratives.
Who else is it going to be? Are they going to switch him out for Prince? I don't remember how to say
Prince Tega Wanago?
Yeah.
The legend who I think he spent like 5 minutes as a Bear. That was either real life or I signed him in a Madden franchise. I can't remember
probably
which.
A Madden franchise. I swear he got drafted as a Chief. No, he was drafted by the Eagles. So.
I was gonna say I knew he played for more than just the Chiefs.
Really?
Yeah.
I wish I could see all the teams he played for on ESPN. That would be cool.
But the point of me bringing that up is I just wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on that whole situation?
I think it's better for the Chiefs now. They spent less money, and I'm sorry, Orlando Brown was not good unless he's playing right tackle.
Right.
So, I mean, the Bengals decided to make their O-line worse with that signing, and the Chiefs O-line probably just got better by just not having him there.
Mm-hmm.
As bad as that sounds. Because Orlando Brown is one of the probably 5 best right tackles in the league.
Certainly.
But he's a lower tier left tackle. He's not really good. He's probably mediocre.
That's being best. Generous even.
Yeah. So I'm kind of out on Orlando Brown. Have been for a long time because he just wants to be a left tackle, and I get it. You get paid better as a left tackle. Unless, I guess, maybe he should go to Miami.
I don't even think it's the pay thing, is it? I think it's just he wants to be on the left side. He's determined to be on the left side because his dad played on the left side.
Well, you're not as good as your dad, kid.
No, he's not. Point blank period, he's not.
It's unfortunate, but
yeah,
it's how it is sometimes.
And I mean, I'm not a big Orlando Brown Jr. guy either. I laughed at anybody that said the Bears should have invested in him this offseason, and
I still think they should have made him their left tackle. I don't know.
I think you're a moron for that because Braxton Jones is a better left tackle than Orlando Brown Jr.
I'm not a moron. I'm biased.
Oh yeah, you're rude. That's what you are.
Yeah. I'm thinking clearly. I want him to play left tackle for the Bears.
Yeah.
Him and Danielle Hunter twice a year. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's. I don't want to say they made the wrong move because they didn't. Letting Orlando Brown Jr. walk with everything going on was the right move. And I think that was a calculated move on their end. I think they knew that was going to happen. It just feels like the blueprint for life after Orlando Brown Jr. fucked up at some point midway through the offseason. Because even if they are planning on developing Wanya Morris, I'm sorry, having Donovan Smith at left tackle is not a serious move. It's not. I would rather have Jason Peters at like 85 than Donovan Smith because not only is he a total turnstile on the left side of the offensive line, but he's a penalty magnet. The amount of holding, because he sucks so bad that he can't get in front of a guy to block him, so he just starts grabbing at him. And it's a consistent thing. Like I remember, it didn't come up this year because he was gone finally, right? But last year, talking to Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans about that guy, you would have thought I asked them, what are your thoughts on a certain dictator from Germany in the 1940s? Like, and it's not like a fan bias thing either. It's like you actually sit down and watch the dude play, and you're questioning how he has a job in the NFL and how he's protecting Patrick Mahomes' blind side.
Yeah. I would take it more seriously if I guess he was like a depth signing and Wanya was
right
just thing from the beginning. Because,
Right.
like, in case Wanya sucks, we know he sucks too, but at least he's, like, played football before.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. Won a Super Bowl one time.
Yeah,
But
I am very concerned about that, which sucks because the rest of the Chiefs' offensive line is awesome. Both their guards are great. They have arguably the best center in football.
and I was going to say, with how well they've developed guys, I would honestly just say throw Wanya out there. It might be bad at the beginning, but if you trust your staff the way you did with Creed Humphrey, because, like, Creed Humphrey wasn't John Michael Schmitz coming out of college,
Mm-hmm.
not really, or Tyler Linderbaum, or any of those guys. He was fine. Like, they're known to develop guys, so maybe just give Wanya his go and just hope from there.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my solution, because Donovan Smith is not good.
No, he's not only is not, like I said, it's just not a serious move for an NFL team. I'm sorry, it's not. But that being said, moving off of that and kind of looking at the Chiefs as a whole last year, this is a team that went 14-3, had a 7-1 record at home, 7-2 on the road, 5-0 in their last 5 games, and obviously finished first in the AFC West. And then statistically, looking specifically at EPA per play and their scoring numbers, something I've taken a look at for every single team in the NFL on this series, they were 4th in rushing EPA per play, 1st in passing EPA per play, to absolutely no one's surprise. They were 19th in run defense EPA per play. They were 17th in coverage EPA per play. They were 1st in points scored with 496. Again, zero surprises there. They were 16th in points allowed with 369, and then 4th in point differential with 127. So, reading those off, Geek, do any of those stand out to you as surprising or just something that, maybe sparks a talking point?
Well, we were just talking about Chris Jones and
Mm-hmm.
their run defense EPA per play being technically below average, because average would be 16th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to get a lot worse without Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, in my opinion, like looking at the team and looking how they run their defense, and we'll talk about the defensive splits here in a second, this is something that could have been preventable. Because if you know anything about modern NFL defenses, you know that cover 3 is ran by a lot of teams on early downs, especially to, fill lanes against the run, to fit the run. And the Chiefs were dead last in the NFL in running cover 3 with I've got the number here. I don't want to just throw something out and then be wrong. 13.7% of their snaps were ran out of cover 3.
Okay.
And I would imagine that's a massive contributor to that, because you look at the way their defense is built. Obviously, Chris Jones is a force in the middle. They had solid edge rushers that, at the very least, were good run defenders, especially with George Karlaftis. Their linebackers are good. Their safeties can tackle. Like, this, it shouldn't have been a below average run defense. But because of the scheme and the way Spags was doing things last year, it didn't quite hit where it should have, at least in my eyes.
They don't have the best run defending linebackers either, though.
You don't think so?
Not really.
Who am I misevaluating here?
So I don't know. See, I'm an asshole though, because I've never liked Bolton or Willie Gay, and Leo Chenal didn't really see that much playing time last year.
No, but he still had, like, I want to say 48 tackles, 46 tackles.
Which probably were all in the run game, if we're being honest.
Well, yeah.
But, like, that's not really how their defense isn't built to stop the run.
Sure.
Like, probably on purpose, because let's be honest, in the AFC, you need to stop the pass more than the run. Mm-hmm. Derrick Henry will not outduel Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Let him run all day. And I just kind of think that's how the Chiefs are built. Just like, run on us. We don't care.
And I mean, the amount of times they ran cover 3 last year is a prime example of that. Yeah. They don't care. And some teams get away with that better than others. Like the Jets were in the bottom 3 and cover 3 ran, and they were still, like, I think the 14th best run defense last year. Granted, it's a little bit different because Quinnen Williams is a better run stopper than Chris Jones.
Yes.
But, either way, I like the Chiefs linebackers a little bit more than you seem to. Like, what are your problems there with them?
I don't know. I've just never. Okay. I think actually the first time I've seen Nick Bolton on my screen look like a actual good linebacker in the NFL was in the Super Bowl. That was the first time he's ever like stood out as more than just a guy. You know, the way you look at, I'm trying to think of random linebackers. Jordan Hicks is like the first one that pops into my mind where they're just like a guy. You can play them. They're not good. They're not bad. They just kind of exist. They play linebacker, but they're not great. And I don't know. To me, if you really want to be a great run defense, it's not just about your defensive line. You need great linebackers. And and it's not like I think Nick Bolton and Willie Gay suck. That's not it either. They're just fine.
Okay.
And just fine is not going to do you very well when your edge rushers have never been great run defenders. And Chris Jones, while he's good at run defending, that's not his specialty.
Right.
And so there's nobody really designed to stop the run, and that's why I think Leo Chenal fits so well in Kansas City, because they can actually have a guy who like, I can stop the run, which is good because he can't cover.
Not yet.
You know me, I was just as high on him as you were.
Yeah, he was both of our LB1s, if I'm not mistaken, right? We were both in that. Yeah. So I don't know. I like Willie Gay. I think he's a good linebacker. I would say top 15-ish, somewhere in there. Granted, there's not a lot of really good linebackers in football anymore.
I guess you're probably right about that.
Like, being top 15 is good, but it's not amazing. You know, like, if this is 2005.
Yep.
Yeah, if this is 2005, you say top 15 linebacker, it's like, wow, he's really good at what he does. Nowadays, it's like, oh, okay. He's a startable player that contributes something. At least he's a specialist. We'll put it that way. Because, I mean, Willie Gay and Nick Bolton, like you said, are both better in coverage than they are against the run. And Nick Bolton, I mean, I don't think super highly of him, but I think he's an above average starter. I think he's a little bit better than a guy like Jordan Hicks.
Sure. And I don't know, the Super Bowl has started to change my mind on him a little because he actually I don't know. It was always just the things because I'll watch him like playing against Denver and stuff because that's, again, with where I live, the games I get to see locally, Denver is what I'm watching every week. Like, because I have Red Zone up and then I have an actual game up just to like, Red Zone, there's a lot of not actually seeing anything that matters. So I have an actual game up. And normally it's the Broncos just because of where I live. So, watching quite a bit of Nick Bolton against not great teams. And he never flashed until the Super Bowl because that's the time to step up, I guess.
Yeah. And speaking of guys who had big performances in the Super Bowl, Leo Chenal, you know, like you said, we were both really high on him. And he's somebody that, you know, I've been talking up this all agenda team that I'm cooking up in the lab, right? And Leo Chenal is absolutely a part of that. I love Leo Chenal. I mean, you've got a 6'2", 250-pound linebacker that ran a 4.5 and went to Wisconsin. If that is not a linebacker built perfectly to play a high-level football, then I don't know what is. So like I said, 6'2", 250. He's only 22 years old. Ran a 4.5, can jump out of the gym. Amazing run defender. I mean, that was his like big thing in college because not only is he smart against the run, his gap discipline's great, but he's super strong for a linebacker. He's somebody that could take on a center head on and win, be able to stack and shed effectively. And in terms of coverage, like, he's not there yet, but he has all of the athletic tools to be awesome in coverage, right?
Right.
You look at, like I said, the 4.5 speed, his ability to go sideline to sideline is awesome. And if he can just kind of get some of the mental stuff down, which a lot of that can be chalked up to just how young he is and how he really didn't get a lot of experience against different types of offenses and guarding different types of routes and whatnot at Wisconsin. So you put him in this room in Kansas City with Willie Gay and Nick Bolton, who, like I said, I like a little bit more than you do. I think they can be good mentors for him. If they teach him the coverage side of things, and then he obviously already brings to the table the run defending side of things, because we saw him last year, he looked exactly as dominant against the run as he did at Wisconsin in Kansas City. So if you put all that together on top of the fact that he's also really good at blitzing the quarterback,
Yeah.
I think, I don't like player-to-player comps, but I saw somebody say he has DeMario Davis upside, and I love that. I adore that comparison because they're both truly do-it-all linebackers, and DeMario Davis has been a top 5 linebacker for years now because he is so well-rounded and can do a little bit of everything. And I think Leo Chenal can be exactly that, if not a little bit more athletically gifted.
I was going to say, I think the reason I liked him so much, my comp for him coming out wasn't even an active guy. It was Chad Greenway.
Okay,
Same
that also
build,
fits.
Same athletic profile, just like so. That's probably part of the reason I liked him so much. Is I saw Chad Greenway, so he can definitely develop into something really awesome, and I hope he does. Because I hope he just gets more playing time this year. If we're being honest, he just needs to cook a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
And I'm thinking with Chris Jones out, them needing that extra aspect of pass rush, maybe they do put him on the field more just to rush the passer. Because like I said, he was really good at that at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, just want to throw it out there. He is currently the second best Wisconsin linebacker from the 2022 NFL draft. Shout out his teammate Jack Sanborn, who was better than him last year. And that's an indisputable fact. But that won't last long. That won't last long.
I sense bias.
No, it's just because Sanborn got to play more and actually got to develop on the field through trial and error. That's like if you put Chenal in Sanborn's shoes last year, Chenal would have been better. It's literally just because Sanborn got the trial and error, and he was working with Matt Eberflus, and Eberflus is really good at developing linebackers.
I know. I still sense bias, you Bears fan, but I know I was just talking up Chad Greenway, so it's fine.
Brian Urlacher,
we're all biased here.
Even though he sucks off the field, still a better football player.
I don't want to argue that, but also he's a better person.
Lance Briggs better. How about that?
Okay, but
fair. Yeah,
but give me
can't say
bad
about Lance.
Fuck you.
Yeah. But anyways, looking at more of their coverage splits here. Obviously, if you know anything about Spags, you know he is very aggressive. Wants to just put quarterbacks in a blender, make their lives hell, force them to get the ball out quick, and then kind of capitalize off of that. This defense wasn't quite that. It was a lot more mellow. It was a lot more conservative than normal. And kind of like I alluded to earlier, I think a lot of that is just because of how many young DBs they had in the room, and he couldn't really get super advanced and super, what's the word I'm looking for? Super complex with his coverages. So this was a team that was 5th in cover 0 with 3.4% of their snaps, 20th in cover 1 with 18.5% of their snaps, 3rd in cover 2 with 23.4% of their snaps. I already mentioned dead last in cover 3. They were 6th in quarters with 19.8% of their snaps, 11th in quarter half with 8.7% of their snaps, and 1st in cover 5, cover 2 man, whatever you want to call it, with 4.7% of their snaps. And even more shocking, their blitz percentages, namely on 3rd down, were way lower than you'd expect from Spags. They were 7th, granted that's still top 10, but 7th on 3rd and short with 47.8% of their snaps. They were tied for 15th on 3rd and medium with 33.3% of their snaps. And they were 26th in 3rd and long with 24.1% of their snaps. And then in terms of stunning, they were 31st in overall 3rd down stunt percentage with 26%. So not aggressive, not crazy putting quarterbacks in a blender. It was, hey, you know what? I like my young DBs. I don't want to put too much pressure on them. So we're just going to kind of let them chill. And we're going to try to get home with 4 guys and see what happens. And that worked. Wasn't fantastic. Their defense was pretty middle of the pack last year, but this is a defense that is fully aware they are second fiddle to the Kansas City Chiefs offense. They know they don't need to be dominant. They don't need to get risky. They don't need to do anything like that. They just need to be good enough and just let Patrick Mahomes cook on the other side. Exactly. They just need that one big stop and then let Mahomes drive down in 13 seconds and score a touchdown and win the game. Like they probably have the easiest job out of any defense in football.
Yeah.
And that's why they were able to cook so well with so many young DBs, not to take away from how good those guys were, because a lot of them really exceeded expectations last year.
And I don't think any of how they called plays is going to change. That's still maybe the youngest secondary in football.
Yeah.
Especially now, I can't remember who all they lost, but I mean,
They
Darius
lost,
Rush is considered their corner four right now.
which, by the way, off topic, how did that man hit waivers, first of all? Second of all,
How
how
did he
did
make it
31
32?
teams pass on him on the waiver wire? How? The Bears don't even have a need at corner. But the fact that we didn't take him with the first pick in the waiver wire is crazy to me.
We have a need at corner, and the Vikings didn't take him, so I don't know what's going on there.
I'm going to be totally upfront. I have not read deep into the situation, so I don't know if there's maybe something I'm completely missing, an injury thing, an off the field thing, whatever. And I don't want to make.
No one actually knows what the issue is. He's just okay, but not getting a job.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to make assumptions and try to be like, oh, I bet he's a piece of shit, because I don't know. I have no idea. But it's crazy to me that 31 teams passed on him on the waivers. It's insanity. I will never understand how he made it that far. But kind of jumping over to the offense here while Geek talks to his chat. I want to start with the run game, because that's the part of the Chiefs offense that nobody seems to care about, but I do, goddammit.
I care.
I care a lot.
Different reasons than you, probably, but
okay. Let's talk about that. Why do you care?
Because it's Jerick McKinnon.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm biased. I love Jerick. He's my goat.
Mine's very similar, though.
But is it for the other guy?
It's for Pacheco, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I said it was for different reasons.
Okay, I get you. Dude, Isaiah Pacheco, I mean this with love. I think he needs to see a specialist. I'm really worried about his anger problems. I have not seen a running back run as angry and pissed off and aggressively as he does in a while. And it's to the point where I feel like there's a deeper root to this, because you got to have a certain level of hatred within you to run the way that man runs. One does not just wake up happy and then think, yeah, I'm going to go do that.
Well, you do. That's the point.
I don't know.
That is his therapy. Football is his
therapy.
Therapy.
I get what you mean. Okay. I thought
so he wakes up happy because Sundays he gets to go murder.
But
true. Not like the oh god, Saints guy who this is legal assault. That was corny and lame. I mean,
you mean Trevor Penning?
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about Darren Sharper for a second.
Oh, well, no, I mean he yeah, I guess
he committed illegal assault.
Huh.
No, yeah,
no,
I saw.
Former Packer.
I get you. That's fair. I was watching a video today. I want to say it was Brett Coleman that said this. It was either him or a different YouTuber that I watch, but he compared Isaiah Pacheco running to the scene in The Patriot. Have you ever seen that movie?
I think so, yeah.
Where he's just running through the redcoat, slashing and dicing like every guy in his path. And I think that might be the most accurate description of how this guy runs. I mean, he has no concern for the well-being of others, and I love it. I mean, I guess, but it hasn't cost him yet, so he's okay.
Right.
Which, by the way, another 2022 draft pick killed that. What, 7th rounder?
Dude.
What the fuck?
Because the Chiefs had the best draft last year. That's just what they did.
And then turned around and maybe had the worst this year.
We say that.
I will say that now, and then next year I will profusely apologize at the start of this video.
Because it's what's going to happen when Felix
Rasheed writes 1,300 yards next year, or this year.
Sorry, Jake's freaking out about missing the Run the North recording.
By the way, if you don't already, Geek, Jake, who's in his chat, and I have a podcast called Run the North, where we talk about the entirety of the NFL and sometimes also other sports. I don't partake in that because I don't know shit about other sports. There will be a link to that in the description if you want to check it out. And we post every Friday, so definitely check that out. And I think this week we're talking about the Western divisions, right?
Yeah.
That's a thing that's happening. So this week's episode, we will be talking about the Chiefs at some point.
I guess, yeah.
So
We're having this exact conversation again later.
yeah, well,
That's
on a
great.
much smaller scale.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the consensus of it will just be, yeah, this is the best team in this division, and that's final.
Oh yeah, and it's our week 1 preview.
Yeah,
Good shit, Jake.
yeah. But yeah, definitely make sure to check that out. But Isaiah Pacheco, good win game.
True.
Very true. And speaking of guys who just have no concern for human safety in the run game, Joe Tooney, Trey Smith, oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I admire those two men so dearly. I love them. And it's so funny because when you think about offensive linemen, whenever we think about players getting production, we talk about them eating, right? They're feasting.
Yeah.
You never hear that term used for offensive linemen, ever. In this run game, those guards feast. It is beautiful to watch how they just smack the shit out of people when they're pulling, to the point where in terms of guard play, this is my favorite run game to watch. It's so beautiful. It's literally poetry in motion. I'm obsessed with it.
I was trying to think of other guards. I don't know if I can.
The only team that compares is Cleveland.
Guard, and it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. I'd rather watch Zach Martin, but
fair. But the thing is, not every play Zach Martin's smacking somebody in the face. Right. It's this. You got two guys on any given play that can do it. Like I said, the only team that kind of compares, or not kind of compares, their duo is better, is Cleveland's.
Right.
But I think these guys have more hate in their heart, which makes it more fun. But yeah, I adore it.
For Belichick, so he's got a lot of pent up, repressed emotions to put out there.
Yeah.
Trey Smith, I don't know, psycho, I guess.
I mean, he's got the 5th round pick chip on his shoulder and just turned into a fucking dog.
Oh my God. Who was the person who got the chip tattoo on their shoulder?
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I forgot. It's someone random. Your chat will know. They'll give us the answer at some point.
Us, hopefully.
Yeah, but talking about their run splits this year, or last year rather, surprisingly compares very well to like a Shanahanian run scheme, which I did not expect. They were 7th in outside zone with 35% of their snaps. They were 11th in inside zone with 25% of their snaps. They were tied for 30th in duo with 5% of their snaps, tied for 18th in power with 8% of their snaps, tied for 4th in counter with 11% of their snaps, which, if you know anything about this type of running game, counter is used as a literal counter punch to the types of fronts that are good against outside zone. So if a defense comes out like a bear front, for example, you hit them with counter, they're not going to know what hit them. And they ran that a lot out of shotgun, was kind of like one of their go-to plays to, like I said, just have those two behemoth guards smack somebody in the mouth. They were also 26th in draw with 1% of their plays. Makes sense. A lot of teams that run draw nowadays are using it for a QB draw, and I think you would be mentally insane if you ran a QB draw with Patrick Mahomes, because that is terrifying to do with a quarterback that could potentially get hurt. And then they were also 25th in pin and pull with 3% of their plays. So like I said, despite being not related to Kyle Shanahan or any of his predecessors, like the Kubiaks of the world, the Mike Shanahans of the world, no relation there whatsoever. It was still very Shanahanian. Granted, the volume was a lot less. They did not run the ball nearly as much as a Shanahan offense is going to.
Well, no. Would you?
No, absolutely not. You have Patrick fucking Mahomes.
Right. Anthony Brown was.
That's not as cool as I wanted it to be.
The DB for the Cowboys. Yeah, he's not great. Von Miller also has a chip on his shoulder, though. So.
Well, we saw how that worked out.
Yeah.
Anthony Brown, breakout season soon?
I mean, maybe, actually. So, okay. Anthony Brown's actually pretty decent as like a nickel corner.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they have Stephon Gilmore, I mean,
the crazier things have happened, I suppose.
Steeler cornerback? No, unless there are two different Anthony Browns, the entire internet's confused.
That's crazy.
Oh, I guess he is now. Oh, after cuts, he is now a Steelers practice squad corner. So no breakouts incoming. That's unfortunate. Good call.
Steelers
Drake.
practice squad is stacked, though, if that's the case. They have Xander Horvath, which breaks my heart.
Poor guy.
The Chargers cut him to make room for Tanner Muse.
That is why the Chiefs are the best in the division.
The Chiefs also lost their fullback, though, so fuck them. Raiders win the division because Jakob Johnson better.
Broncos?
Jakob Johnson better than Michael Burton.
Ooh.
It's not even a hot take.
No,
That's
bro.
just
Michael Burton, Super Bowl winner. No.
former. Listen, he's a former Bear, and I'm saying that, so you know.
You gotta be the weird old guy about it, though. I don't know, bro. Michael
He's got
Burton,
that championship DNA.
Got a ring, got that championship DNA.
That's why James Devlin's the best fullback of all time.
I mean,
how many rings does Jim Brown have, huh?
Oh God.
How many rings did Mike Allstott have? One. That's what I thought. Yeah, James Devlin. That's a fullback. All right. I have gone off the rails. You're the one who should be going off the rails with your current mental state and exhaustion, yet it's me over here.
Yeah, but see, we're not talking about a position that is close to my heart yet.
Harrison Butker.
I don't know where to put him as a kicker. Okay. No, so like I've been trying to think about that. Who is the second best kicker in football? It's like we all know Justin Tucker's one, but who do you put it to? Is it Butker or is it Daniel Carlson? And I don't know.
I present a third challenger.
If you say any kicker who has ever played for the Bears, I'm kicking you in the teeth.
I'm not.
Okay.
Younghoe Koo.
I just can't. I still don't trust him. Too many big misses. Even last year, he missed
a prime opportunity for a joke, and I hate it.
I always do. I always miss prime opportunities. I fit jokes.
I'm not even going to tell you what joke you missed. Jumping off the run game and moving over to the passing game.
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes. Moving off of the passing game.
No. There's more to talk about here.
Is there?
Yeah. Travis Kelce's hurt.
Yeah. They said his ACL is good, though. It's just
he's going to be fine. Might miss week 1, which
still going to beat the Lions.
Yeah, dude, the Lions fans are on drugs, and I'm not here for it.
Richie James.
But don't worry.
Legacy game.
The Lions are going to easily beat the Chiefs, but I'm a psycho for saying the Vikings could beat the Chiefs. Remember this. I'm an idiot.
So listen, I'm telling you, this is the Sky Moore legacy game if Travis Kelce misses.
Nah, Kadarius Toney for the win.
Is he playing?
I have no idea.
Probably. What is he? Is he
incredible for the 6 weeks you'll ever get of him a year?
Yeah. He's also really good at reaching out to fans.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is there something I missed?
Oh yeah.
I don't spend enough time on the internet.
If you DM Kadarius Toney and run your mouth to him, he will clap back 10 times harder.
That's sick, though.
He's threatened to pull up to people's houses before, asked for the address, and said, "Let me pull up." Over people being like, "You lost me my fantasy championship" and shit like that. Which,
dude, will he reply if you're nice to him? If I don't think DMs with Yoda,
hey Kadarius, big fan.
No, you won me my fantasy championship. You gonna pull up and we gonna go out to dinner now?
He's gonna reply and say, "Fuck you! I don't care about fantasy football." He's still just gonna be mean.
And I'll go, you know what? Fuck you. Play more than 3 games a year, you stupid little cunt.
And then he'll donate $10,000 to your subathon.
Oh fuck! See, that's the douchey thing. He can
right.
Keep me here for 10 years. It's just you're done. That's where you stay now.
But no, looking at the. Okay.
We didn't talk about him in the running game, so we might as well talk about him in the passing game.
He lines up at fullback sometimes.
Yeah, the Jet is a fullback sometimes. How do you feel about the Jet being a fullback?
I mean, it's the closest things the Chiefs have to a fullback on their roster. So I guess I'm a Jerick McKinnon fan now.
There you go. That's how you should do it. Jarek McKinnon, my goat.
I still like Pacheco more.
I still
His
wish.
name's just, not only is he fun to watch, but his name's so fun to say.
I
Pacheco.
just wish Jarek wouldn't have got hurt when he went to San Fran.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how good he would have been in a Shanahan offense.
Oh, he would have went crazy.
Because now, like, he splits time with Pacheco, but he's also like 30, and he gets mostly passing plays because he's like a really good pass catching back. And then, he's the guy who in the Super Bowl doesn't get to have his shining moment because he just guarantees the win for the team and takes the knee at the 1 yard line. He could have told his kids the story of scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl, but instead he's just the good guy who no one will remember. And that makes me sad.
Still got the ring, though.
Yeah, goat shit right there.
He can just be like, hey, kids.
Hey, fuck you. I got the ring, bitch.
Hey, Dad, did you score a touchdown any big games? No, but fuck you. He says to a 6-year-old son.
Jesus. Fuck you. Jesus Christ. What?
But yeah, looking at some of the passing numbers here for Kansas City last year, they were 24th in play action percentage with 22.9%. No surprise there. Mahomes doesn't need the crutch of play action. He's simply better. They were 23rd in average time to throw with 2.91 seconds. Not because Mahomes holds the ball too long, but because Mahomes does crazy shit and then just fires the ball off after running around for his life for 5 minutes and then somehow completes like an 80-yard touchdown pass because, I don't know, he plays on rookie arcade, I guess. Something that shocked me a little bit, they were tied for 30th in air yards percentage with 45.9% of their yards last year, meaning they would have been tied for second in yak, like yards after catch, which you think Mahomes, big arm, just launch it downfield. But I guess it also kind of makes sense when you look at the receivers he had last year, guys like Juju and Mecole Hardman, and obviously Travis Kelce's really good after the catch and things like that. Some of the random Kadarius Toney, some of the random little white boys out there that, hey, listen, the Chiefs got that white boy swag at tight end and wide receiver. You love to see it. It's so goofy. I love it. I love when you have powerhouses on a team, and then there's just that one goofy little white dude that scores a touchdown randomly. It's just funny. They were tied for 19th in average depth of target with 8.7 yards. They were 7th in big time throw percentage with 4.7% of their throws, and they were first in yards per attempt with 8.9. So, all that to say, even though it doesn't really illustrate, I guess, Mahomes good. That's all that matters. He's got some funky little receivers out there that he's going to make look way better than they are. Travis Kelce, go Burr, and that's the Chiefs passing offense. Also, Andy Reid cooking up just perfection. And you know who's going to be helping Andy Reid do that this year?
Don't say it.
Matt Nagy, the new Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator.
So to be fair, wasn't he helping cook up last year? He just wasn't actually coordinator.
No, he was. Yeah.
He also won a Super Bowl with them once. That's like why he was the Bears head coach. No.
Actually, no, the year after he got hired was Alex Smith's last year.
Yeah.
Like he coached or he called the plays in that last game for the Chiefs when Mahomes looked good, and then he called. No, he did. It was that game.
First year, Trubisky's first year.
It was Trubisky's second year.
Oh, was it?
Because Trubisky had a year of John Fox. Because there were games where John Fox would be like, "We are going to run the football 60 times today." Yeah. Okay. No, Matt Nagy actually look, okay, from a Bears fan, right? And Grayson, I know you're out there. Cover your ears. Matt Nagy's not that bad. The problem is,
I don't know if I can support these shenanigans.
Listen, is he good? No. Does he belong being a head coach anywhere? Absolutely not. But as a coordinator and as a play designer, not a play caller, but a play designer, Nagy had some good ideas. And he did some okay things. But when you look at Chicago and Trubisky being the quarterback, Nagy had to dumb down his playbook multiple times. That is an objective fact that he has stated multiple times, which I don't like that he said that publicly. That's really dumb. Like that is so bad for morale, and it's no wonder why Trubisky had no confidence. But obviously, you're never going to say something like that about Mahomes, so it doesn't matter for Kansas City. If you say I had to dumb down my playbook for Mahomes, then people are going to come at you and say, well, then your playbook is stupid and it shouldn't exist. Throw it away, burn it in the trash, and go be a car salesman. But he did not have a quarterback until the final year in Chicago. And even then, when he had that quarterback, we saw what the Bears' offense was because of the offensive line and some of the weirder. I mean, the play calling wasn't great. But as someone who's just kind of there as as Andy Reid's right hand to draw up some plays and kind of talk to Mahomes, talk things through with him, and just be the assistant, because that's all he is. It's Andy Reid's offense. It's not Matt Nagy's offense ever. Then it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He'll be okay. This might be a weird reference, but I don't know if you've ever seen the Family Guy clip where they're talking about when Ringo Starr would write songs for the Beatles. And it's just like Ringo walks over and he's like, guys, I made a song. And they're like, oh my God, Ringo wrote a song. And then they like pin it on the refrigerator. And he's like, I'm going to put it right here so everybody can see the song that you wrote, Ringo. That's, first of all, fuck the Beatles. That's a terrible impression. Second of all, that's what my brain is with Matt Nagy's role in Kansas City, is just him being like, Andy, look, I drew up this funky play. And he's like, good job, Matt. And then when the Chiefs are up by like 40, Mahomes is like, hey, can we try Matt's thing? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then you get like a jet chip wasp or something out of it. And then they whip it out later in the season in like a real situation and it works. Like, Nagy's weird. I feel bad for the guy. Bears fans treated him so poorly his last year. Like when I saw people booing him at his son's football game and chanting "Fire Nagy," that was fucked up. That's not okay. But kind of jumping over to free agency, and looking at what happened there. Starting out with the guys that left Kansas City, who do you think is going to have the biggest impact? Like their impact being gone is going to be felt the most.
Interesting. I can't remember who all they lost.
I can read them off if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we've got Michael Burton, Carlos Dunlap, Orlando Brown Jr., Frank Clark, Juan Thornhill, Andrew Wiley, Mecole Hardman, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kalen Saunders, Chad Henne, Brandon Williams, Darius Harris, Jordan Franks, and Ronald Jones II.
So I think early it might be Juju.
Okay.
So if we're speaking of, and I'm glad we're recording this today and not yesterday, because I would have said something different. If with Kelsey being banged up, Juju is not Kelsey. That is not what I'm trying to say. I'm going to get out in front of that. But he could help fill that role if Kelsey.
Yeah, he can be a big slot.
He can be your slot guy who's just going to find an open spot. He's not going to make as much happen, but he can find the open spot and just help you gain really simple yards, which is like Kelsey's biggest thing. He's always open somehow. They don't really have a receiver right now or another tight end who can really do that. Like Kadarius Toney's great, but he doesn't do the same thing.
Sure.
Well, and he's great when he's on the field. Dude, I don't know how you cover that guy or tackle that guy.
Yeah.
Shifty. That's why he's so hurt. But yeah, so other than that, maybe Frank Clark.
I would say, him not being there to get sacks at like the most opportune times possible is going to suck.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I know I'm a big Karlaftis guy. Did you like Karlaftis? I can't remember.
He was fine. Okay. I wasn't huge. I wasn't super into him. But I didn't hate him,
Okay, I get you. He was my edge for, I want to say, like you obviously had the big three with Trayvon Walker and Kayvon Thibodeau and Aiden Hutchinson. And then I'm pretty sure for me, Karlaftis was the next guy up, if I'm not mistaken. I don't
remember who else existed. I might have not had
Jermaine Johnson.
Was I a weirdo like that? I might have been.
I don't know. I don't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah, I might have had Jermaine over Trayvon. I didn't like Trayvon.
Weirdo.
I didn't like Trayvon, dude.
Weirdo.
Everybody said he was going to be the first overall pick, and I was like, he should be.
I didn't like him being the first
third
overall
edge off
pick,
the
but I
board.
still saw the appeal of Trayvon. I'm more on the Trayvon train now than I was back then.
True. Well, yeah, because he played in the NFL and showed he wasn't as awful as I was really worried he would be.
Yeah.
I still think if I was the Jaguars, I'd take Kayvon Thibodeau, though.
Well, yeah, you take
mostly because when you're looking at what they are, like, well, Trayvon's this project who could be really good. He's got these physical tools. It's like, so why wouldn't you take the guy with better physical tools who's a little less of a project?
Like, I think the difference is, though, Trayvon, it's the size and the run defending. Because Trayvon, as a rookie, was an awesome run defender.
Yeah.
Like, he was the best run defending edge out of the class. And speaking of good run defenders, the guy I would go with for the Chiefs, like the biggest impact loss, would be Kalen Saunders.
Okay.
And I know that's like a small name to a lot of people, but obviously with Chris Jones being gone, the run game the run defense, as we already said, is going to take a hit. Not having Kalen Saunders is big for that, because he played a lot of really good football against the run last year. And he went on to the Saints, and I talked him up a little bit in the Saints preview, but like, it's not the end of the world, obviously. But I think, especially immediately, like you said, with Juju, that's definitely going to be felt. And they're going to have to find somebody to kind of fill that role there. And also Michael Burton, obviously, because fullback.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't get on the field as much as he should have, because Andy Reid makes me angry with that. That's my one gripe with Big Red. He doesn't use fullbacks enough. That is the only gripe one can have with Big Red, but it is the one I have.
Fair.
That's the only thing. And then even Matt Nagy doesn't like fullbacks. He just puts white tight ends back there. And I say white tight ends because it was literally one of like 7 different white boy tight ends in Chicago that would play fullback at any given moment. Because, we had like 15 of them his last 2 years. But looking at the retained free agents here for Kansas City.
Caleb says Orlando Brown Jr., just so you know.
Incorrect.
Yeah, it's incorrect, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. But looking at the guys that got retained here in Kansas City, your boy Jerick McKinnon obviously got brought back. Derek Nottie, Blake Bell, Justin Watson, Jody Fortson, who's on injured reserve right now, Tommy Townsend, Tershawn Wharton, who might have to be the guy to step in for Kalen Saunders, Prince Tega Wanogo, however we say his name, and then Nick Allegretti. So nothing crazy, just some solid depth guys that stepped up at random points last year and did some things. And, Jerick McKinnon's a little bit above that. I'll say he's a solid piece of the offense there. And then third-party additions, who do you think is going to have the biggest impacts for the Chiefs this year?
Ooh,
you want me to list them off?
I can think of a couple, but I mean, if you third-party additions, so not draft picks, right?
Right. Not including draft picks. We do those.
I mean, it's got to be Jawan Taylor.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
He's one of the better right tackles in football.
Lucas Niang.
I guess he would have been if it wasn't for Jawan Taylor. No, last year it was Wiley. Andrew
Wiley,
right. Who went to the Commanders. Yep. But then again, he kind of sucked for most of the year and then didn't get good until the Super Bowl. So.
Right. Absolutely.
But yeah, it's definitely Jawan Taylor.
But yeah,
other names here. Donovan Smith, who we already said sucks. Charles Omenihu, who's apparently suspended. When I was looking at ESPN, it had him listed as suspended, which I don't know what he did. Maybe he was one of the gamblers. I don't know. And then Drew Tranquil, Mike Edwards, Blaine Gabbert, and Richie James. Don't sleep on Richie James. I'm telling you. He's going to do something at some point. Just watch. He will make a big play this year. And then you
talking about Keelan Cole. He's going to do something at some point somewhere.
You can come back to this video when Richie James does something and be like, Miller football knew. He knew. And I will post this clip on Twitter when he does something and take my victory lap. No, I won't. That's corny even for me.
Clip of me saying Keelan Cole was going to do something somewhere again. That was on a Run the North episode. Actually, I'll just repeat it tonight, so I know it's on the AFC West one because he's a reader. So
yeah. But jumping over to the draft, who is your favorite draft pick from the Chiefs this year?
You want honesty or?
I mean, I know who it is.
So yeah, it's gonna be Wanya because I don't like anyone else they picked anywhere. Mostly because I thought in every situation there were better players on the board who fit their team better, and they chose these guys.
True.
So, like Felix, I'm not saying he's a bad pick. I still don't know what Adebawore. I still can't pronounce.
Adi Tamiwa Adebawore.
I'm just gonna go with Adi, and people can deal with it because I can't say his name.
Adi. That's how you got to call him.
Like he was on the board. I know he ended up falling to the 4th round. I don't care. I don't know why that happened. Like I don't care. He was.
I don't get it either because it's not like he was some crazy raw player. Like the athletic tools were there. He's going to be a good run defender day one, no matter what. Like he's really, really good against the run. Yeah. It's just you got to figure out some of the pass rushing stuff, but like it's worth it at the 31st pick.
Also having him with Chris Jones and Karlaftis would have been, pretty cool.
He's the lightning to Karlaftis' thunder.
Right.
It would have been great.
But like, I wasn't a super fan of any of their other picks, so I'm gonna go Wanya because I think he might end up having the most impact out of any of those picks when he ends up starting over Donovan. So
yeah.
For
me, Felix is probably my pick, but for the same reason that you picked Wanya. There's not a lot here that jumps out at me. Like Felix, this was a little high for me. Like I had a 2nd round grade on him. Mm-hmm. So it's not the end of the world. Like it's the last pick in the 1st round, but I don't know. Like I guess the appeal here is like I see a little bit of Frank Clark in him. So maybe that's what the Chiefs were thinking. Like you get a young Frank Clark plus hometown guy. The draft is in Kansas City. The narratives, things like that. It's not like he's some bum, which if they're drafting off narratives, weird, but maybe that contributed.
For the internet, should we bring up everyone's favorite Randy Moss comparison for some reason?
Please don't tell me there were actually people comparing him to Randy Moss.
Oh my god. Yeah.
That was a real thing?
Uh-huh. I 100% remember that.
I did draft coverage for 4 or 5 months?
Yeah.
And I didn't see that once. Now here we are in August, and I'm finding out this was a thing.
I probably saw it because it was always Vikings fans attacking those people on Twitter. Like, dude, what? There's no world.
A body catcher that can't run routes. Randy Moss.
Yeah.
You know what Rashee Rice is? You know what he is?
Go ahead.
A poor man's Juju.
Valid, actually.
That's what Rashee Rice is, and we're comparing him to Moss.
Yeah.
The second best receiver to ever touch a football. We're comparing Rashee Rice to him.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. I really want to make that clear, though.
I know you're not.
It's not me doing that.
Yeah. A guy that can't separate. Worst release I'm maybe ever seen.
I really hate talking about him like this though, because he has Mahomes at quarterback. So
and literally that's what I had in my draft notes. As soon as he got drafted, when I was writing up my notes for this and my draft grades video, I was like, I'm gonna eat my words because he has Mahomes and he'll find a way to be productive, but he's not good.
Yeah.
And I think he played good in the preseason. I think he made a couple plays there, and Chiefs fans are going to cling to that. I don't care. It's the preseason. He was playing against guys that are going to be accountants in a week. Like, no. Rashee Rice is not that good.
Looked good in the preseason and then got cut. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No, like back to a real football player and Felix Anudike-Uzomah, right?
Yeah.
I just want to wrap up talking about him before we say anything else. Like
Fair.
the thing with him, to me too, with taking him in the first round, this was an issue that plagued a lot of the edge rushers in this class. Is you can see the poster behind me. When it comes to edge rushers, in my eyes, there's Batmans, there's Robins, and there's Alfreds, right? Batman is your tier 1 alpha edge rushers, your Nick Bosa's, your even getting as low as like Josh Allen in Jacksonville. They're the
Right.
true number 1 alpha edge rushers.
Yeah.
And then you have your Robins, which, you know, you can get into the weird nerdy technicalities where like technically some of the Robins end up being better than Batman, but like on a basic level, Robin's the sidekick. He's the number 2. He feeds off of Batman. He's there to kind of clean up, right? And that's guys like Leonard Floyd or why am I drawing a blank?
My brain only goes to Brian Robeson for some reason.
Sure.
Who was the left end opposite Everson Griffin and Jared Allen for his entire career. That's just what he did.
Yeah, but Leonard Floyd's the one I always go to.
Yeah, because that's the best example.
Right.
Or
and not only
even a Randy Gregory has been that guy.
I don't know.
His whole career.
Randy Gregory, I mean, if we want to nerd out, Randy Gregory's almost like a Nightwing. Because like I think he can be an alpha, but he's not. I don't know. Either way, the point is you have your alphas, you have your secondary, and then your Alfreds are like your rotational edges, right? The guys that'll come in and make some splash plays. They're not as good as the other two, but they still have their moments. They have their usages. You know, every once in a while, you'll get Alfred punching Superman in the nose in Injustice and making him bleed, or you'll get an edge rusher, a third rotational edge rusher getting a key sack on third down, right?
Yeah.
Things like that happen. Felix Anudike-Uzomah, as well as most of the edges in this class, is a Robin. He is a number 2. He does not possess the and one of the big separators with that is like a dominant trait or dominant athletic profile. And Uzomah just doesn't have that. He's a okay athlete. He's a technician. Like he's a great technician, but he's not going to overpower you with his strength. He's not going to fake you fake you out. That's the really definition of a technician. He's not going to outrun you. He's not going to bend around you. He's not going to do anything like that. He's also not a great run defender. Like there's work to be done there, but he was just somebody that screamed day 2 pick to me. And I think taking him at the end of the first round, not ideal. It's okay, but it's not ideal.
I still stand by that they were going to draft Nolan Smith.
And that would make a lot of sense.
And then when he was off the board, they went, hometown kid, fuck it.
Right.
Let's make him. Well, I think they then went, we should trade out of this. And they went, no, we're picking in Kansas City. We got to make a pick. Mm-hmm.
So. And honestly, outside of Adebawore, he was probably the best edge on the board at that point. So,
yeah.
Because I don't think I'm missing anybody else.
BJ Ojulari, maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of the argument there. BJ Ojulari is the same type of player. Like he's another Robin. So
yeah, it literally. Audie was the only guy I cared to bring up.
But running through the rest of this draft class, Rashee Rice, hate it. We already talked about that. Wanya Morris, he has the upside of a starter. We'll have to see what the plan is there. Shamari Connor, I thought was a reach. Like he's an athlete. He's a raw athlete with limited instincts. He's kind of Juan Thornhill-esque. So
yeah,
I get why the Chiefs liked him, but I wasn't a fan of him. BJ Thompson, I saw some people get excited about. He didn't do it for me because he's a bad tackler, isn't a good run defender. He's old. He's raw. He has no plan as a pass rusher. His balance was bad. His hand usage left something to be desired. Work ethic can kind of be questioned there because he spent 6 years in college and got thrown out, or not thrown out, but he got cut from his first college and then had to go to Stephen F. Austin. So, you know, it's weird though, because like athletically, the dude moves like a fucking safety off the edge, which is crazy, but there's nothing else there. Literally nothing. This is like a guy in Madden who has 30s for all of his stats, and then like his agility's at like a 98, and his acceleration's at like an 88, and his speed's at like a 92. And you're just like, I can develop him. I can fix him. I don't know if you can. Keandre Coburn was a fine pick. He's somebody that actually, when we were talking about run defenders, I don't know why I didn't think to bring him up. He could be a starting caliber nose tackle.
Yeah.
Could be. Won't be right away. He's going to have to develop a little bit, but he could be. There's a world.
If Chris Jones isn't playing, though, maybe you let him.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he's literally textbook nose tackle. Space eater, low center of gravity. He can two gap. He has the size you need. It's just he's not a good pass rusher and his technique's not quite there, but he's a 6th round rookie nose tackle. You don't need him to rush the passer. You just need him to say, hey, I'm big. And that's all.
Phrase.
That's
the deadpan. What about the most important rookie, the one they didn't draft?
Oh, I didn't get to talk about Nick Jones from Ball State.
Do you want to?
He went to Ball State.
There you go. There you have it, everybody.
Certainly, he cannot be bad. If he literally went to Ball State, he knows ball. He has experienced ball.
But what if Ball State's all about baseball?
Fuck. I did not think about that.
Or basketball.
That's even worse.
Tennis ball?
Surely not. Surely.
What about golf ball?
Perhaps.
Mayhaps.
I shall do some research before uploading this and find out exactly which type of ball we're speaking about.
At the state. What kind of ball we're speaking of at the state?
All right, so who's this rookie you're yapping about?
I don't know. Who is this rookie I'm yapping about?
You said the one they didn't draft. Are you talking about Darius Rush? We already talked about him.
Yeah, I know that was. But that was
Darius good win game.
Bowling ball. Chat's on it. Bowling ball.
Maybe. Beach ball?
Yeah. Ping pong ball.
The other kind of ball.
Hey, yo. You know, maybe.
We don't judge here. Love is love.
No. We don't judge here.
I'm sorry, Nick Jones, if you see this. I promise. I have faith in you as a football player.
Grayson, I promise. I don't believe any word out of your mouth. So.
Seriously, though, shout out Nick Jones. He's like a special teamer. I don't even know if he made the 53 roster. I don't think he did, but
he was listed on ESPN's thing, but I closed it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
State.
But that also apparently doesn't mean anything because Blake Bell is listed, and apparently he's not on the active roster. So.
Oh well, is what it is. Moving over to this season coming up, obviously starting tomorrow from when this is uploaded. Final question. You know the drill. 2-parter. What's your record prediction for the Chiefs this year, and who are you the most excited to watch?
Well, I mean, do I take the cop-out? No, all of it's a cop-out answer.
Don't say Mahomes. That's the
cheap cop-out. But there's also Kelsey. You know, I could go the full cop-out and go Vanya or Jerick McKinnon.
Come on, we're football nerds. You got to have a fun answer.
Right, I know, but it's more fun to be the asshole that just says Mahomes.
I mean, if it's not apparent, mine's Leo Chanel, so.
Yeah, that's why. That's the other reason I'm struggling is I don't want to just say the same guy as you.
Fine, I'll change my anser if it's that hard.
I got it. No, actually, Brian Cook, now that he's going to be starting, is actually really intriguing to me.
Okay.
Kadarius Toney, I don't know if he'll play. So, yeah, give me Brian Cook. Jesus.
What about a win total? How many wins are we thinking?
I'm looking that up because I just did the thing.
Okay.
Where's my playoff predictor? Because I just finished putting in all the stuff for the Run the North episode tonight. So
I
have it. Hopefully. Will you expand so I can see the whole thing? I have the Chiefs at 12-5 winning their division.
12-5? Okay. That's valid. Yeah, I'd say about 13-4. So Chiefs are good. We know this. That's why this is going to be a shorter episode, just because what's there to say about the Chiefs that hasn't already been said? Defending Super Bowl champions. They have arguably the most talented quarterback ever. Their head coach is one of the best ever.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, arguably the best tight end ever. It's a really good football team.
Chris Jones, pretty good.
Pretty damn good, yeah.
Kadarius Toney is a wide receiver of all time.
Yeah. All right. So, with all that being said, I think that about wraps this up here. So, before we head out, Geek, if you want to plug anything, by all means, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Go follow me anywhere on the internet at TheGeekSlays, literally everywhere. Quite simple. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I talk ball, play video games, eat spicy chips that make you die. That's all.
He's probably also still live when this goes up. So look at his subathon.
That's possible. I still got 18 hours left. We added 2 hours since we were sitting here.
Let's go. Yeah. But like I said, all that being said, I think that about wraps us up here. You can check out me everywhere at Miller Football, obviously Miller Football _. Links to all that will be in the description. Check out my 2 podcasts, Run the North, that we've already plugged, and then Bear Down Boys, which will also be in the description. Very Bears-centric podcast. Geek is shaking his head because he's a stupid little Vikings fan. But anyways, that's going to do it for this episode of my team preview series. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like down below. Helps out a ton, shows your support. That's always great. And then make sure to subscribe because we're going to be talking ball all throughout the season. Going to be talking fullbacks, obviously, if you care about that. You're Chiefs fans. Maybe you don't because you just got rid of Michael Burton. But if you do, if you got a soft spot for the best position in all of sports, by all means, Geek, stop laughing at me. I'm rushing myself because I am about to leave and there's a car outside waiting for me. But anyways, to everyone out there watching, and obviously Geek and his chat, everyone out there in chat, I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, night, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you enjoy it because you're all wonderful people and you deserve it.